Welcome to Little Town Big Queeries. We have a special guest over a Zoom call today.
Um,
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Sorry. I'm so sorry that it has to be online.
Oh, you're okay. You're all right.
It's like there's a whole pile of stuff happening at the minute, and so it's just been like
No, no, no.
chaos.
It's totally understand. It's such a long way as well, you know? Like to get
Yeah.
people to Fermanagh is such a and everyone I want to talk to is from Belfast. So it's such an ask to get people down here. Sorry
Yeah.
if I was like, if I'm interrupting
Oh
any.
no, don't be silly. No, I I the reason why I volunteered to do it is because I love yapping.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's what I want.
So my mum was just like, do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. And I was like, okay, great. So excuse the childhood bedroom
No, no, no. Here, I'm
wallpapers.
I'm in my bedroom too, but there's nothing on this side of the room. Everything's on the other side. I thought nice white background is
Yeah,
professional. I tore off
professional.
calendar. It's sitting on the bed, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm so sorry I didn't get speaking to you ages ago. It was
No,
just
you're
chaotic.
grand. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
mad. It was we started off with like five of us for the podcast, and now it's just me, sadly. So yeah, it was absolutely chaos because I was like, oh fuck, can I do it myself? And I was like, fuck it, I'm already in the deep end. I've done so much
Yeah,
work to walk away from it, so
yeah, you might as well keep going.
you're stuck with me today, unfortunately. But anyway, thank you
Oh,
so
nice.
much. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you want to do a little introduction of yourself and a little bit about the club as well?
Yeah, sure. So, hello, my name
Yeah.
is Mal. My pronouns are he, him, his. Um, I am a part of Sad Dykes. We have been running for a year or two now, I think. Um, and so yeah, it's just kind of been crazy seeing that journey and like seeing it take off. And aside from Sad Dykes, I run Rainbow Reels, which is an LGBTQ trad group.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Do you play?
yeah, yeah. So I played the boron.
Oh,
Um,
fuck right off. I've always wanted to learn. I've got my mom to get me a little book and like a DVD. I don't know why a DVD, because who the fuck has a DVD player nowadays? But like, I've always wanted to play it because I play the snare drum for a pipe band, and I just
oh, no
love. It's so
way.
satisfying. You
Yeah,
see the
so
beam. Love
satisfying.
it.
Yeah, drumming, like I love drumming. So yeah, I would say arts orientated.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's the best way to
you
be.
know, yeah, like we need the arts at the minute. So yeah, I love music. I love poetry. Um, so yeah, that's that. Yeah, we've been running for a while, just kind of doing our thing.
Yeah, you keep saying we. It wasn't just your idea. You didn't weren't the pioneer
No,
of it.
no. So I think basically what had happened was so there's three of us. There's Rory, Melissa, and me. Um, and I think Rory had been saying that they really wanted a queer poetry night, and Melissa was saying that they really wanted a queer poetry night. And they were saying it to me, and I was just like, well, funny you should mention that. And so I think I just kind of merged everybody together, and I was like, we all want to do a queer poetry night. So let's do it and just see what happens. And yeah, we've been doing it together. Well, I haven't been in a while because I'm also trying to do a PhD. But yeah,
Oh no
it's
way! What are you
been
doing a PhD in?
something.
Oh, something. Sounds
Uh,
big brain to be honest.
It's yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So I look at like the performance of gender and emotions in loyalist like
Oh, cool.
rituals. Yeah,
Sick. That is deep. That's really
it's very
interesting.
deep.
Yeah, that's
So yeah.
cool. Was there a particular gap in Belfast poetic queer scene, or even just like a normal like poem club scene
Mhm.
that you felt that the club could fill?
I mean, I don't think there necessarily was, right? Like the thing about Belfast and the thing about Northern Ireland in general, right, is that it's tiny. Okay. So like most people will all kind of socialize in the same circles, right? And any of the poetry nights that we had been to before, we always felt very included. We always felt very welcomed, but it was just kind of, I think, something we wanted was that that queer aspect, and like that kind of queer space. Because some of the other poetry events, um, it's very mixed level. Some of them are kind of a lot more like established poets would be going to it, so it can kind of be a wee
Yeah.
bit more nerve-wracking. Whereas like some of the other ones, it's very informal. So I think we tried to have a good balance of both of that and just kind of let people come as they are. Like it's not a requirement. They don't have to be LGBTQ to
Yeah.
come, but it helps because it's,
Yeah,
a
no.
queer
But they need
space
that
and it's,
space. Yeah.
yeah.
For someone who has never attended before, what does a typical poetry night look like?
So usually we have like the kind of socializing. So you have a bit of socializing at the start. People, if they want to read, they usually can let us know, and we put them all into like a hat, and pull them out in a random order. So, say there was like 10 poets, we would do five poets, a break, and then the last five poets. And then, like, if one of us has a poem that we're interested in reading, we would do it either at the start or after the break or at the end. Pardon me. And yeah, it's just kind of it's became a real like socializing space. Like I know beforehand you get people that have been there and everybody's kind of like chatting, and then afterwards there's a lot of chatting as well. There's a lot of like socializing, and it's really sweet. It's really lovely. And it's so nice to see it because it's in Paper Clips, which is like the queer bookshop of Belfast. So it's like a sober space and it's quiet. And if people want to bring drink or alcohol in, they can do so at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very casual affair. There's not a lot of pressure, and yeah, it's a good fun environment, you
No.
know?
You also have monthly themes, but they're not mandatory, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the thinking behind the balance between structure and freedom?
Okay. Some people like some people with their writing having something to write off can make the writing process easier, whereas
Yeah.
some people are just like, no, I just write whatever comes into my head, and it's just kind of like there's people who sometimes they want to participate, right? But they're like, I haven't written anything. I'm really in a writer's block at the minute. I can't write. And so whenever you give them like uh the themes, it's like you can write something based on this. And it just helps. It's like a prompt. It just
Hmm.
helps people kind of get a little bit of a leg up
Yeah.
into their writing. And it's like it's really entertaining because it's so stressful trying to come up with the themes.
Oh yeah. I've
Because
seen a few of them. They were funny.
we're like, what should we say?
Yeah, because they can be so niche. I read some of them and they're
Yeah,
so niche. And I'm like, how did you just come up with that? So
yeah,
funny.
like, and to be fair, so one of our themes was like the Feast of the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down
Yeah,
somewhere. I forgot to get the list them. I wrote that down because I was like, I need to ask them what this is
yeah.
about. Like, what does that mean?
I think it was Melissa who came up with that one. And then I actually wrote, I think, one of my favorite poems based on that prompt. Um, yeah, some of the themes were just like, what do people want to write about?
Yeah.
Um,
But it
so
is
yeah,
handy because I did
yeah,
films in
definitely.
college, and when they're like just come up with an idea, I'd be like, "Oh Jesus, you don't know where to
No.
start." So when they give you like a little like prompt, something,
Hmm.
I find so many ideas then come to my head. It's mad, but it does
Yeah,
help, and they're really
definitely. And
clever.
yeah, they help like it does. I kind of would do a mixture. Like sometimes I would use the prompts and some other times I wouldn't. But any poem that I have written that's been based on one of the prompts, I've ended up really enjoying it. I've kind of been like, "Oh, that was a good poem." So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is. It's just finding that balance and what works for
Yeah.
people as well, you know.
You also welcome all languages, especially Irish. Have you had many
Mhm.
Irish language performances?
We've had a few. Melissa and Rory would both do poems in Irish. Melissa has a great one in Irish. I am not I'm not fluent enough.
It's hard.
Um,
It really is
it's
hard, man.
so
Honestly,
hard.
my Duolingo, I keep that is a commitment I haven't been able to like
Yeah,
withhold. You know, it's
yeah.
such a hard language.
Like we definitely have had a few poets who come in and speak Irish or do their poems in Irish. And there's just something so like beautiful about hearing the Irish language used in
Hmm.
that way.
Oh yeah, it's so
Like
poetic within
it's
itself.
so poetic and
Yeah.
like I get buzzing whenever I recognize like one word. And that one word is always like agus, which is and I was
And
like,
yeah.
I know that one. I know that one. So yeah, it's and I think it's important as well, you know, like Irish language is really making a resurgence at the minute, and I think it's just important to give people that space to just be like, you know, I want to use this language to talk about something in my life, and this is the language that is comfortable to me to talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. It's been really interesting listening to all of the poems and hearing everybody talk.
I noticed you emphasize trigger warnings for topics like suicide, addiction, or sexual assault. Do you get a lot of participants with poems relating to these serious themes? Would you say that this is an outlet that is a good coping mechanism for this, like overcoming trauma?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, like some of the poems are like, you know, hard hitting. Um, and I think sometimes it is easier for people to express that trauma through something creative rather than just talking about it. Because I think sometimes there's a pressure on us when we're just talking about it. Like it's harder to express it. Whereas whenever you can use poetry to talk about these things, you know, it can kind of help you make sense of it in a way that's not uncomfortable, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, because I know like for a few of my own poems, um, stuff had happened in my life and using poetry was kind of like a bridge for me between understanding what had happened and like connecting it and connecting dots and stuff and just expressing it in a way instead of just trying to like talk about it in a very sterile manner and taking the emotion out of it because of how traumatic it was.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, definitely. And I think the arts in general, like whether it's music, poetry, um, dance, art, like any of those things are just such an incredible bridge for people to put the emotions back into something that was traumatic and understand it and connect to it, but also just like be with it, you know?
The club seems very connected to activism. You've supported causes like Trans Resource Centre, Trans Pride, Rainbow Refugees, and homelessness initiatives, and helped two people fund their gender affirming care. Why was it so important to use this platform to raise funds for, and awareness?
I mean, it's it's a shit time right now to be
Yeah.
trans or
Yeah.
LGBTQ. There's like every day there's another right taken away from you, or there's another problem, or there's just something, and it's so exhausting being trans or being queer. And just kind of waking up every day and being like, what right am I going to lose today? What sport am I going to be banned from? And
Yeah.
so I think that's why it is really important, because um some of the most important solidarity you experience is kind of inner community solidarity. And I think when we do the fundraisers, and just even raising awareness, like
Yeah.
telling people that like these things exist.
Hmm.
Because we would often get people coming to the poetry night who have maybe just moved to Belfast. And so sometimes when we do the fundraisers, it's a really good starting block for them as well. Um, to see what support there is in Belfast and like where they can go to get help. So yeah, I think it works both ways, like we're very conscious that people are in our community who can't access these things, and we need to help them because that help can be the difference between some terrible stuff and them just getting through the day, you know?
Yeah. No, that's amazing. You've only been about what 2 years, and you've done so
Yeah.
much. Fair play to you, honestly.
Yeah.
In February 2025, I think it was, you hosted your first Sad Dyke slam competition. What
Yeah.
made you what made you want to introduce slam format?
I think we just kind of used it. We were like, let's just throw the word slam in there. I'm
Did you
laugh
see people's like competitive side?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, 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 you did. And also it was so funny. Um I one of the prizes, we were trying to figure out what's a good prize.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, do you know what we can do? We can just print a photo of me and I can sign it and we can give that as a prize.
Yeah,
And we did. Um, yeah, it was really entertaining because there's a few competitions in Belfast, poetry
yeah.
competitions. Um, and so
I think I seen a post you made that use cancelled the session so that you could make it for a slam. How
yeah, so
how did
that
that go?
so I think I won it.
Oh, no
Yeah.
way. Sick.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah, fair
So it
play.
was it was different. So basically, there's like the Ulster slam poetry competition. And then you get into like the Northern Ireland one, and then you get into like the Ireland, and then you get into like the world Europeans and then the world. So I had got into the All Ireland final, um, and didn't didn't make it through. Not that
Oh,
I'm bitter about that or
no.
anything, but like
No, I'd be bitter about that. I'd never
I
forget
do
that.
be bitter. So yeah, I think, sometimes it is good to have a bit of friendly competition. And I think it was just more than anything, I think it was just a bit of crack.
Yeah.
And I think it really worked for some people. For other people, they were kind of like, I don't know why I'm here. But I'm here anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you did say it, no one has to get up and, read
Uh,
poetry. They can just be there to socialize, which is lovely.
yeah,
Yeah, it's what people need, definitely.
yeah, definitely.
Uh, you've you've collaborated with Women of Color Belfast for International Women's Day and the Laugh Hole. I love the nickname Sad Hole. That was
I
brilliant.
think that was my idea. I
Was that
think that
that
was
was
my idea.
really
Um,
good.
and I think it's one of the best. Like, I think it's so funny. Yeah,
It was
sorry.
well done. No, you're all right.
Thank you.
Why are partnerships like these important?
I think it's just like, again, like as I said earlier, right, that like Belfast is tiny. And so just like having that kind of different groups socializing and like introducing to people to things that they might not have initially thought that they'd be good at. So like with Sad Hole, I think we made all of the stand-ups do poetry
Yeah.
and all of the poets do stand-up. And that was so fun and it was
It sounds
so
unreal.
chaotic.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, like it's introducing people to different things and to just let them have spaces where they can be creative and not have pressure to be like a perfect poet. Um, yeah, I think that's really important.
What would be the most memorable poem or moment you've heard at the club or seen at the club?
So there's been a few, okay. There's been some really beautiful poems. Um, but I think my favorite moment that has come out of Sad Dyke's Poetry Night was I had um I had a tobacco pouch, which was called Mildred.
I think I've
Um,
seen this post. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Mildred disappeared. And we held a funeral for
Yeah.
her. Um, and I think it was one of my favorite moments because Melissa got up and I can't remember what you call the poem, the style, but I think it was the poem. Every line started with a letter from Mildred
Okay.
um, as a title, and then somebody had got up and was like, I remember when I first met Mildred, and like, and then we finished the night with a communal sing of "My Heart Will Go On" from the Titanic. Um, yeah, she's nearly gone a year ago, actually.
No
Coming
way.
up to her it's coming up to her 1 year anniversary.
Oh,
And so
Jesus.
yeah, I think that's like I think that was genuinely one of my favorite moments because it was so silly and it was so unserious, but we were all treating it so
Yeah.
seriously. It's nice sometimes to have a break
hmm
from the reality
Oh,
of
yeah. It's
like
good for morale.
yeah, and like having a communal sing to my heart will go on, like so fucking random, but it was just like a nice way of being with everybody and being
hmm
like everything is so awful right now outside of this room, but when we're in this room together, it's just a laugh.
hmm
And like, some of the poems that come up, some of the really memorable poems are really like really emotional and really vulnerable. And like I can't emphasize this enough of how brave people have to be to get up and share a poem about some of their most traumatic memories.
Yeah.
And they all do so with such grace, and they all do so with such like love. Um, and the energy within the room as well of people receiving those poems and just being like gracious to the poet and going up to people afterwards and being like, I really enjoyed your poem. I thought it was really impactful. And I think that's really important as well. It's just like, you know, giving people who might not have had a voice a place to have a voice, whether that's a very short poem, whether it's a very long poem, whether it's not even a poem, they
Hmm.
just go.
Yeah.
But hear people talk about it and can kind of be like, oh, I understand that experience. So yeah, that was a very long-winded answer.
No, you're all right.
But it is, I think that's some of the most memorable parts has been receiving people in their most vulnerable states and just supporting them, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's lovely. Who would be your say like inspirations? Is there any poets that you would take inspiration of?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. So there's two main ones. There's Ocean Vuong and Mary Oliver. I don't know if you know either of
I
them.
I wouldn't know. I hadn't have a notion, sorry.
So Ocean Vuong is like he's like this gay Vietnamese poet. And his poetry is so depressing. So depressing, but so good.
Hmm.
Um, and his again, his use of language is so interesting. Because he would write some poems in Vietnamese, and he would talk a lot about kind of the so he's American Vietnamese, and he would talk a lot about masculinity within language and like using violence as a way to discuss an achievement. So being like, oh, I blew it out of the park, I smashed it, Like, why is it violence that shows how good you were?
Yeah.
Um, and if you have mummy issues, if you have daddy issues, if you have grandparent issues, he's got a poem for it somewhere. And then you have Mary Oliver, and Mary Oliver, she's an American poet as well, and I think everybody, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for myself entirely here. Everybody, I think, remembers their first time hearing Wild Geese, which is one of her most famous poems, I would say. Um, and it's just like the opening line, like, you do not have to be good. And she, in her poetry, talks about being a survivor of kind of some horrible stuff and like reconciling with it through her poetry and using language to talk about it. But like, Wild Geese is just like one of the greatest poems I've ever read. And I would draw a lot of inspiration from both of them of just kind of like how do I use language to talk about these things and my experiences and why do I use the language that I use? So there's so many different styles and genres of poetry. Like I wouldn't say I'm a slam poet. I'm kind of I think a wee bit more like Mary Oliver-esque in my
Yeah.
poetry. And it's just like, well, why do I do that? Why do my poems sound like that? And so yeah, I could spend literal hours talking about Ocean Vuong or Mary Oliver, and I have spent hours in a smoking area drunkenly talking about Ocean Vuong and his poetry I think 2 hours was the record.
That's nice though. It
Non-stop.
shows you got passion for it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And it's just, yeah, definitely.
if someone listening is a queer poet who's nervous about sharing their work, what would you say to them to encourage them to come along to your club?
Gotta be brave, you
Yeah.
know? You gotta take that risk. And sometimes the only way you can get better at something is by doing it.
Hmm.
And we we would love to hear new poets, and we want people to feel supported. So like message us if you're that nervous and we can chat to you. And yeah, like we're always more than keen to get new people in. And it's just, yeah, sometimes you just gotta take that risk and
Hmm.
be brave, and we will support you in
Yeah.
that risk, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah,
Awesome.
that'd be my words.
Nice one. I'll make sure to get all your wee socials and for people to
Yeah,
contact you
perfect.
and all. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll be posting this hopefully the 30th of this month.
Okay,
It
cool.
depends because I might have it like every 2 weeks post. I'm still
Yeah.
figuring out and what the situation is, but it's been absolutely lovely for having you on,
Yeah.
chatting away to you. I don't know if I ever said my name. Did I? Probably not.
No, what's
My
your name?
name, my name's Billy. I just
Okay, cool.
realized when you were speaking, I was like, shit, do you know my actual name? Because I always think my name's on the podcast, but it's not. That's my
Yeah.
bad. But it was so lovely speaking to you today, Mal. Thank you so much
Thank
for taking the
you.
time to chat to us.
I had a great time. And
Yeah,
yeah, I look forward to everything. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you so much for
awesome.
having me.